but yeah.
You put him top 5. I think so too. Ohtani and Judge, and him, and
Bobby Witt. Not playing.
The Yankees just swept them.
I mean, the Royals are struggling, right?
But Bobby Witt is unbelievable.
Yeah,
he is unrelenting. Yeah. There you go. Look at us talking Cleveland Guardians baseball right here.
Look at us.
I want to be positive because as soon as TJ walks in the door, he is being hit by a New York Met blue title.
Going high and tight.
Oh yeah.
The Mets.
No, we'll talk. Hey, how was
WrestleMania? It looked awesome. Picks were great. Yeah, that's
Kittle, we ran into Kittle.
Yeah.
I know that. I mean, he's so excited to tell. Oh, you have no idea what's going to happen this week. I don't care. How many of your teams lost 11 in a row?
I don't care.
Back on the Rich Eisen Show, 844-204-RICH is the number to dial. I saw this stat over the weekend, mentioned it on Overreaction Monday. Only 2 players in the history of the NFL draft have entered undefeated in their final year in college and then won the national championship and the Heisman Trophy in that same year. And then were drafted number 1 overall in the draft. Cam Newton and Joe Burrow are the only such players, and our next guest is likely to be the third. The first name to be mentioned in the NFL draft does appear to be our first guest of NFL Draft Week, courtesy of Pfizer. Fernando Mendoza is here on the program. How you doing, Fernando?
Doing well. Thank you guys so much for having me. It's a blessing.
No, I appreciate that, and it's a thrill to meet you, Fernando. I've been admiring what you've been doing from afar, and I was just wondering, what's going through your head right now. A few days.
Now let's welcome Fernando Mendoza.
Well, first of all, I appreciate it. Friends and family have sent me the clips. You talking about me, so I really appreciate all the love and support. It means a lot to the Mendoza household.
Meant every word.
Yeah.
Every word, man. Every single word. Are you nervous? Are you nervous-sighted? That's a word my wife and I use with our kids. Nervous, excited. What are you feeling right now?
I don't know. Is that word in Webster's dictionary? I'm not sure, but I want to start using that.
Please.
Nervous-sighted is the word to use. I'm a thank you, courtesy to you. I'm gonna start using that.
You bet.
I'm nervous-sighted. It's gonna be an opportunity and start of a new journey. It's a celebration, but it's a celebration of a start. And I'm really excited to get started on this new journey. And the realization has hit me, especially on the top 30 visits, where, okay, you're going to be in these NFL facilities in the next 2 weeks. So get ready to rock and roll. You're going to be an NFL player. And so I'm ready for the opportunity. I'm nervous-sighted. Can't wait to get started.
See, I feel like you just used it in a sentence. You took it for a spin. Please take it. It'd be my pleasure to have you use that word because it kind of does fit everything. When's your first memory of when you dreamt of being an NFL quarterback? Can you remember when you first did?
Yeah. I believe the first memory, I always watched a lot of NFL football when I was younger, and I always enjoyed playing tackle football and flag football from a young age. But I would say the first memories would have to be watching the Patriots and the Dolphins play in Hard Rock Stadium back in the day when Ryan Tannehill was a quarterback and Matt Moore was a quarterback. There, watching those games, seeing how they operate on the field, more from the sense of Tom Brady, although the other two are great as well. And that's when it really settled in, saying, hey, I want to be on that field one day.
And now you're currently about 72 hours away from the idea of playing for Tom Brady becomes official. And I know, again, that's the nervous part about it, because one never knows until they hear their name. But I can assure you, what will that mean for that kid in that stadium to play on a team that Tom Brady is part of running, Fernando?
It would mean the world. Tom Brady, I'm sure he stated that he's going to pour into whatever quarterback they take or any quarterback they sign, like Kirk Cousins, and have the opportunity to be great. If I get selected by the Raiders, he would be a boss. So it wouldn't be like how 6-year-old Fernando envisioned it, to be best friends. But but it'd be cool, and I want to be pushed. I want to be pushed to be the best quarterback that I can become, say what I'm all about, and live that experience. So really looking forward if I get that opportunity.
Is it true you FaceTime with Tom at your combine conversation? with the Raiders?
Yes, he was on FaceTime for around 15 seconds at the combine interview, just saying hello, good luck, and then he's wishing me the best. A lot, because not a lot of owners are at those combine interviews or even calling for those combine interviews. So to see the involvement that team has with its ownership from the top down is very invigorating and very exciting.
Yeah, and then I guess that conversation that you had with the Raiders, our colleague, my friend, I went to college with him, Adam Schefter, reporting that you when you walked out of the room, you audibly said, the others heard that you screwed up the whiteboard conversation with them. Is that the case, Fernando? At all? Do you feel that way?
I mean, I don't definitely did not say anything audibly. Okay. I mean, Schefter is very accurate.
Right.
I don't remember. I think what I was upset about, it wasn't messing up. It was a play that they had me draw, was a 7-step timing play. And I believe that I was able to recall the play and draw it up how it was presented. However, leaving out the little nugget that it was 7-step timing, although if I was called to run the play in that room, I would have known. Just, being able to say, hey, it's, little nugget at the end, hey, it's also 7-step timing. Nothing about sport.
Fernando Mendoza here on the Rich Eisen Show Draft Week. This is the way we're kicking off our draft coverage here on the Rich Eisen Show, courtesy of Pfizer, which we'll get to in a moment. When did you realize this year was special for you, potentially, Fernando? When did that hit you?
I realized this year was special. We went on a 3-game stretch. We were able to honestly beat the brakes off Illinois, which was awesome. Iowa, and we were able to then come out in a close victory against Oregon at Autzen Stadium. At that point, I knew we had something special. Not because of the wins, but because of how tight the guys were. And we were in resilient moments. We all came together as a glue and were able to execute under pressure, able to hold each other accountable, and at the forefront have fun with all of it.
Yeah, and then, that Penn State moment as well. Season's on the line, you step up, and that drive with Cooper making a catch of the year, I think, still.
Sure.
What was that moment for you like in the huddle? Can you walk me through? Because I think that kind of also was a coming out party for the whole country to watch what you guys were doing as well on the heels of Oregon too, Fernando.
That was a catch of the year, and that drive was special. You were down by a couple of points in the fourth quarter, and to be able to drive down the field with a minute left in Beaver Stadium, such an electric stadium against some great talent there that Penn State had, and then see the catch of the year, it all culminated. And at that point, I knew that God was on our side, and I couldn't up because that catch was phenomenal. The protection was phenomenal, especially on a cover 0 blitz. So to have such a majestic and magical play is a play I'll remember forever.
How did Curt Cignetti help bring all this out of you, maybe, Fernando?
Curt Cignetti creates a great culture. He's a great CEO, creates it from the top down, makes sure there's no complacency in the building, and that leadership is able to trickle down, whether it's through him, Coach Shanahan, Coach Haynes, and all the captains on the defense or offensive side of the ball. And with that, it's a strong culture. It's a strong culture that makes sure everyone's in their tip-top shape.
How hard, you got a good story of how hard he coached you, personally?
Yeah, Coach Cignetti did not give me a lot of compliments throughout the year because he wanted to keep me humble. He wanted to make sure that I was always striving for greatness and to strive so I can be the best teammate. Because I never want to let down my teammates. I want to be the best teammate and best player I can become. However, in the Oregon game, he made sure to give me a compliment, but it was because we were pick 6 and he needed me to win the game, or needed the team to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, he was able to give me a compliment there. But he made sure to keep me humble, which evidently worked because we were the first team to go 16-0.
Yes, I can't imagine someone would look at you and say, this kid, his head's in the clouds. I need to make him humble. I couldn't imagine that. But do you remember what the compliment was, since it's like a manhole cover to be thrown around?
Yeah, exactly. It was after the pick 6 against Oregon. You always want to score points for your team, and you never want to give up points to the other team.
Right.
So that in a crucial moment, It was not the best feeling. However, he said, hey, are you having fun yet? And then went back to staying in the present moment, making sure you're controlling the controllables, and taking a deep breath and controlling the basic fundamentals to help your team win the game and do your part. You don't need to be Superman. You just need to do your part and your job. And at that point, we were able to lead down the field and able to score game-winning touchdowns against Oregon. So evidently that manhole compliment worked.
Yes, it did. It did. It certainly did. No doubt about that. What would be your advice to John Hoover, who's taken over for you, with Signetti? What would Josh Hoover? Pardon me. What would be your advice to Josh, who's taking over your spot for Indiana?
I'm very excited for college football this year. Whether it's Indiana Hoosiers, who I think are going to be phenomenal. They have a lot of great weapons, and they are stacked, and they have great coaching. I mean, the coaching there is phenomenal, whether it's Coach Signetti or Coach Shanahan. And really looking forward to watching them this year, and also looking forward to watching the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, because my brother's going to be quarterback there, or going to be the quarterback there, and it should be a great story as well.
Okay. So what are you doing for Pfizer, Fernando? What can you tell me about what your relationship is with Pfizer?
I believe that the partnerships that are tangible and have real life positive application are very important to me. And I've been very vocal about my health, my family's health, especially my mom, throughout this entire journey and rise through the college football playoff. And I was able to partner for Pfizer to push people to go to PfizerForAll.com/screening to see if they're eligible for a cancer screening. It's not just for general health, and to take hold and control of your health to see if there's any early detections, because 50% of Americans are behind on their cancer screenings. I believe it's very important to be out in front of your health. It's not a certain drug. It's just, hey, go to PfizerForAll.com/screenings. See if you're eligible for a screening. If you can, take the minute quiz to get in front of it.
April is also National Cancer Prevention Month, so it's obviously a perfect message in time for this big week. Before I let you go, Fernando Mendoza, a couple of things. I'm a Michigan guy, so beating the Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game, I felt like you were also doing it for me, quite frankly, Fernando.
Oh,
but
well,
yes.
Well, I appreciate that. At that point, Michigan and Indiana had a common enemy. However,
Yes.
we're all Big Ten brotherhood.
Yes, we are.
They are also great.
I understand.
Coach Patricia over there is phenomenal. DC. They have a lot of great players able to meet through this draft process. But to be able for Indiana to be mentioned with the big dogs like Michigan or Ohio State was a blessing. But that day, we were on the Michigan side.
Well, you were, and I was with you, but you were taking it in the chops, man. You were taking the hits. You were absolutely getting smoked. And then obviously we saw not just that, but throughout the college football playoffs, you taking it into the end zone against Miami, yourself taking hits and things of that nature. Where does this resilience come from, do you think, Fernando?
This resilience comes from my mom. My mom struggles with multiple sclerosis, also known as MS, and I see her fighting every single day. So and with a smile on her face. So there's no excuse for me to have a bad day, bad play, or bad game. So I'm always trying to have an optimistic approach, give the best, serve the best I can to my teammates. As you can see there, I'm just always, whatever the team needs me to do to win, whether it's running up the middle, whether it's throwing the ball on the outside, or whatever I'm asked to do, I'm going to do to try to do my best ability for the team.
What if it's to sit down to start your career because somebody like, say, Kirk Cousins is there to allow you to learn the playbook if that's what the coaching staff decides? What about that, Fernando?
I'll sit down. The coaching staff is the reason they're the coaching staff, because they make the best decisions, and whatever they'll help the team, I'll do. Just because I'm sitting down doesn't mean I'm not going to compete my butt off. I'm going to compete my butt off every single day, try to prove it, because I believe everything should be earned, not given. And so I think that'd be a great opportunity to walk into, trying to earn something. But I think it'd be awesome to be able to learn from someone like that. And although sitting down can be seen as a negative, whatever the coaching staff thinks is best for the organization, I will do with a smile on my face, and try to help the team and my teammates as much as possible.
Well, I was hoping to run into you in Pittsburgh, but obviously, word is that you're going to be elsewhere. Can you walk me through that process and how you decided to celebrate your drafting the way that you plan to, Fernando?
Pittsburgh is a great opportunity, and it's a great venue. And I'm really excited to see all the guys, or most of the guys, walk across the stage on Thursday night. It's to be a dream for a lot of guys. However, my mom really wanted to do it at home, and so do my parents. It's a lot easier for us, especially with the family situation, and I have to hop on a plane the next morning anyways. And for that travel, it'd be a lot easier to stay at home. I wanted to stay and make the memory with everybody who poured into my football journey. Mentors, coaches, family, friends. You want to share that moment with all of them is going to be the best memory that I can make, rather than limiting it to 10 or 12 people in Pittsburgh, which is going to be great. And I still want to be the best league partner I can become and make sure that there's how many cameras that ESPN wants there or whatever they need from me, I will do. However, I think it's very important to start off this journey with everyone who's gotten me to this point.
Fernando Mendoza, it's been a pleasure watching you grow and blossom into what you have become and what you are on a track to be. And I just love you being genuine. That's what we tell our kids at home. Be yourself, and you, after beating Ohio State, your quick chat with Jenny Taft of Fox, and you being yourself, man, I thought it was awesome. And I just wanted to tell that to your face.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate you, and I thank you for everything you've done in the community. As a young kid who's watched a lot of draft coverage and a lot of ESPN and all the coverage, I really appreciate everything you've done. So
thanks, bud.
Talk to you. And
yeah, you bet. Same to you.
Looking forward to future interaction.
Listen, Fernando, we'll chat when you go to your next spot. And in the meantime, PfizerForAll.com/screenings to quickly learn more about which cancer screening may be right for you. And you can book appointment directly, whether it's for yourself or encouraging a friend or family member to do so. Thanks for the time. Enjoy it.
Thank you. God bless.
You bet. That's Fernando Mendoza of Indiana football, soon to be of an NFL player.
That's the Fernando Mendoza.
One to root for.
And someone I like so much. I didn't even want to correct him that I've been on NFL Network the last 23 years, but I got to let that go.
Yeah.
We're all the same.
Yeah,
we're all the same Disney umbrella.
That's right. We are now.
But I'd like people to watch NFL Network's draft.
Of course. Yeah. I'll have it on.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. At Cam Hayward's party.
Very good. Yeah, Cam Hayward's party.
Right. I'll make sure all the TVs are on.
Honestly, do you really want to go to that? Because I'm not going.
Oh, I think that Felly and I are going for sure.
All right, fantastic.
Yeah.
I'll send you the link.
Thank you.
And maybe by that point in time on Thursday night, the Mets will have won a game. Cannot wait for TJ to show up. The NBA playoffs off and running. A couple of things that stand out, to say the least. Want to touch on that and your phone calls. 844-204-RICH, number to dial here on the Rich Eisen Show. John Spytek, the man who might draft Mendoza, most likely still to come.
We'll be right back on the other side of this break.